On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, could the Bears sign Jadeveon Clowney to pair with Yannick Ngakoue? Also, we're going to get to all your questions, so use hashtag Bears on today's mailbag video. And lastly, if you love the Bears, like the video. Hit that like button if this is your squad, if you're pumped to have Bears football back. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Could Jadeveon Clowney become the next member of the Chicago Bears? My name is Harrison Graham, but let's explore that before we get to your questions. Ian Rapoport did have an interesting note that after the Bears signed Yannick Ngakoue, he reported that Ryan Poles was also interested in Jadeveon Clowney and trading for Danielle Hunter. Obviously, the Vikings restructured Hunter, and that option went away. But the fact that he mentioned Clowney, I think, is pretty interesting because Clowney is still available. It makes me wonder, could Ryan Poles double dip? Could he double dip at pass rusher? We talked about this with Justin Houston as a potential guy to also bring in. He, of course, went to Carolina, but Jeremy Fowler had the note that Houston was a backup option to Ngakoue as well, so it sounds like they are interested in him. So it just makes me wonder. I don't think they would do it right now, but I do think, depending on how the preseason games go the next couple of weeks, if an injury pops up, if other guys are struggling, that Clowney could become an option. Now, his pass rushing statistics, if you will, have kind of come and gone throughout his career. I don't think he's ever lived up to being that number one overall pick, but he's an excellent run defender, which, you know, Ngakoue, that's kind of the question with him. So you could kind of zag while you zig with Ngakoue, get a great run stopper on one end, great pass rusher on the other end. And at times, Clowney's had good sack production as well. Had 9 sacks just a couple of years ago. Now, I do think this Bears defensive line as a whole is in a much better position than it was. Because the D-line in camp has actually looked sneaky good. Terrell Lewis has had a good camp. DeMarcus Walker's been banged up, but the Bears are high on him. Some other players have stepped up, especially on the interior. Obviously, you add Ngakoue. But I'll be honest, if the price is right for Clowney, $6-7 million or less, I'm probably in. I would take the chance on Jadeveon Clowney and bring in yet another guy who can rush the passer a little bit, stuff the run really well, and give you quality snaps on that edge position. Even though he had only had 2 sacks last year, he still graded out as an above-average pass rusher per PFF with 29 pressures. So I would definitely be intrigued with Clowney. You got Ngakoue. Could you get Clowney too? What say you? Should the Bears sign Jadeveon Clowney? Type S for sign or P for pass. This will be the pinned comment on today's video, so if you guys get hit with that ad break, go ahead and reply with an S for sign or a P for pass. Now, if you're watching live, shout out to Brian, boom, for that super chat. We will get drinking for that one here in just a little bit, and we'll definitely get that that super chat here on the show, even though he didn't ask a question. But let's start with Jason Nelson with this one. He says, what position is the biggest current need to move the needle? What player is available that could do that? Or does the team just need another year together to see what works and what it needs? The biggest current need to move the needle? That's a good question. Maybe better offensive line play? You got to protect Fields. Now, I think the O-line's going to be better, but in camp it's been inconsistent. I want to see a couple games go by first before I judge Trench's play because it's hard to do that in practice. But I think protecting your quarterback and getting after the other quarterback, that would move the needle for me, no doubt about it. Immortal, will Khalil Herbert catch more than 9 passes, his total from last season? I think so. He'll catch 10 or more. I don't expect him to be a 50-catch guy or something like that, but he's got to improve in that area. Can he give me 20 catches, 15 to 20? Like, give me 200 yards receiving? Like, you don't have to be incredible in that area, but I think he can be a good runner in this system. We know that, but can he be an adequate pass catcher? That remains to be seen. Tim Griffin, which rookie has a surprise season and who will disappoint you? Which rookie has a surprise? Who will disappoint me? I would say a rookie that could surprise is Terrell Smith. Maybe it's not a surprise at this point, but the fact that 5th-round rookie's competing for a starting job, he could surprise. One that could disappoint us? Darnell Wright. He could. He's had an up and down camp. You took him top 10. If he has a underwhelming rookie season, that would be disappointing, right? You need him to protect Justin Fields. I'm not predicting that, but if someone underwhelms, his impact of underwhelming would definitely be felt. Jaren Thomas, then I do want to flash Brian's $100 super chat after that. Jaren says, does Hester finally make it into the Hall of Fame next year? He damn well better. I'll tell you that right now. It's a joke that Devin Hester hasn't gotten in his first 2 opportunities. I get it. Most of his damage is as a returner. He is the undisputed best returner in NFL history. He changed the way teams kicked off and punted to him. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't get in this time around, we riot here on Bears Now. Shout out to Brian. We're going to give him a big boo with the $100 super chat. If you're not watching live, this is a reference to the live show. If you are watching live, well, Chip is going to get some redemption potentially here in a little bit with a little beer bong race. So stay tuned if you are watching live. But first, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's show. If you want to make some money this preseason, create an account with BetUS. And the way to do that is to go to chatsports.com/Bears. Use our promo code BEARDOWN to get a 125% deposit bonus. Put down $100. They will give you $125 for free at sign up with BetUS. But you got to use our link and promo code. Look, betting on preseason games is fun, right? Because it makes the game more interesting. The Bears are 3.5-point favorites against the Titans in this preseason opener. The over-under between the two teams is 37.5. So they're basically predicting like a 21-17, 20-17 type of game in the Bears' favor. Give me the over. Give me the Bears to cover. Let's have some fun. Bears football is back, and have fun with it with BetUS. Promo code BEARDOWN at chatsports.com/Bears. All right, Eli Johnson. What's the deal with Mooney, and when is he coming back? What's his role? He's been back. They're still ramping him up a bit, but the Bears actually listed him as their number 2 receiver. I expect DJ Moore, Claypool, and Mooney to be the top 3 guys, with DJ as the one, Mooney and Claypool. It's kind of interchangeable. They're going to use 3 receiver sets quite a bit. The question will be, when they're running 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, which receiver checks out? Is it Mooney? Is it Claypool? Does it depend? Probably depends. I expect him to have a big impact on this offense, though, Eli. Jason M., what is your level of concern about the Tyler Scott drops? I'll say like a 5 out of 10. I'm mildly concerned. But I'll say this. I'd be more concerned with him if he was catching more balls but not getting open a lot. He's getting open. You can fix the drop concerns. Like, you can work on the jugs and get those things tightened up. Like, sure, he may not ever have DeAndre Hopkins' hands, but remember last year, Christian Watson had major drop issues coming out of college early on in camp. He had a pretty damn good rookie season for the Packers. Remember a couple years ago, Jamar Chase was dropping balls every day in practice? He's like one of the best receivers in the league. I'm not saying Tyler Scott's going to beat Jamar Chase, but I think he can be a really good player in this league. And he doesn't need to be a star as a rookie. Be a complimentary piece. Be the 4th receiver. That's all we need. Tiger2308, what is your opinion about our secondary? Do the Bears need one more strong safety or free safety? I think the Bears are in a pretty good spot. I was hoping that Chicago would bring back DeAndre Houston-Carson, but that ship has sailed. I think that the pairing of Jaquan Brisker and Eddie Jackson at safety is a really good duo. Sounds like Elijah Hicks has had a pretty good training camp as well. That 4th spot at safety kind of up for grabs between A.J. Thomas and Kendall Williamson. I like the cornerback group too. We know what Jalen Johnson brings to the table. Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith are competing for that second outside spot, and I think Kyler Gordon's going to make a big jump at nickel. From Ernest Roper, the Bears roster is shaped up to make a good playoff run, but the O-line depth will make the team killer. I do have concerns about the O-line depth. Like, if you ask me right now, what position needs depth more than anything, I would say the offensive line. Lucas Patrick, who's actually nicked up right now, is probably the only backup where you're like, okay, if he has to play, it's not a big deal. But after that, it's like Borum, Leatherwood, Jatiri Carter. I don't love those options. So maybe on roster cut down day, if there's a surprise cut at offensive line, there could be a new addition for this team. Now, are you a Bears Now subscriber? Type sub if you are, and if you haven't, click that sub button, then type sub, because we want you guys to be with us all season long. It's 100% free, and pat yourself on the back if you are a Bears Now subscriber by typing sub in the comments. We appreciate all the support. once you do subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Nestless, by the way, do you think DJ Moore could have another 1,000-yard season? Absolutely. I know he had just under 900 last year, but I expect him to have a 1,000-yard season. If he doesn't, that means one of two things. One, a bunch of other guys got the football a lot, or two, he had a disappointing year, and I don't expect that to be the case. So not only could he, I expect him to. Tyler, is Trevis Gipson on the roster bubble? I think he has to be. Like, with the initial depth chart release, he's 4-string defensive end right now. I know it's unofficial, and we shouldn't put crazy stock into that, but he's a guy that's got to play well in the preseason, I think. So, remember, he's a Ryan Pace guy. Day 3 Ryan Pace pick. Kendall Vildor is lower on the depth chart, too. Like, those guys, you can cut them and save some money because they're in the final year of their rookie deals. I would not be surprised if that was the case. Tiger 2308, what is your opinion? Who is better, Mitch Trubisky or Jared Love? I think you mean Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love has a higher ceiling at this point, but I think Mitch probably has a higher floor. I don't think either of them are franchise quarterbacks. Michael Ellis, what should we look for in the first preseason game? Better defense, see how the offense gels. Well, if you're watching live, I'm going to have 5 things to watch for in the preseason. If you're watching this mailbag later in the week, then our preseason preview's probably already gone out. Go check that out. But I think a couple of things I want to see. A, how long do the starters play? B, how do the rookies look? I think it's always intriguing to see how these rookies play in the preseason, especially in that first game. Appreciate all the questions here on the channel. If we didn't get to you, follow me on Instagram. Slide in the DMs, ask me a question over there. I'm all caught up on some old DMs finally, so light me back up. I can answer as many of your questions over there. Any thoughts, whatever you got, at HGramNFL. We'll see you over there.